I don't know where you are in crypto. You were so negative for a while and just definitive, like you always are. You may know nothing, but you're never in doubt. But you were so negative. Then you got totally positive. Do you own Bitcoin now? Kevin, what's your position in crypto right now? You do. Have you sold, sold major parts of it? You have a lot of it, or as much?
No. Look, Bitcoin is not a coin, Joe. It's simply software. Ethereum is software. If you own, HBAR software, if you own Microsoft, if you own Google, why don't you own Bitcoin? It's all software. It's productivity software.
You own one Bitcoin. Do you have a real position in it? Because you're a wealthy guy.
I have millions of dollars. 20% of my portfolio is now in cryptocurrencies and blockchain.
Hey, Kevin. So I was on the phone yesterday with a sort of a big time crypto guy, and he was talking about how crypto was like the multiple operating systems for for mobile telephones years ago. But it made me think maybe that means we're in the beginning of something, which is fabulous. But it also makes me think of Palm. Does everyone remember Palm? Or RIM, which is BlackBerry? Or, you could go down the list. iOS and Android didn't show up to the scene until a decade or two after the fact. And I only raise it because I wonder sort of where you think we are in all of this and whether it means that the Bitcoins and some of the coins that we're looking at now and talking about will be around or will be obsolete in a decade from now.
Well, you have to be diversified. I own 32 different positions, including equity in FTX itself. And I have to disclose, I'm a paid spokesperson for that company. I'm backing their initiatives. But the whole point is, you don't know who's going to win. Is Ethereum going to win? Is Solana going to win? Is it Helium? Or is it Avalanche? I own them all. And luckily, they're just software development teams. You go meet these people, you find out they're in their 20s, they're the smartest engineers in the world. If you graduate from MIT right now, you don't want to work for an old industrial company. You want to go to a blockchain company. So we should support this initiative and be the leader in policy, because right now the world is waiting. The Canadians are more advanced. They have the very first crypto exchange. They have the very first ETF with Bitcoin in it. How come we don't? The same in the United Arab Emirates, the same in Switzerland. We are so far behind in policy for this nascent industry that's going to lead the world in financial services. We got to get going. Now, there is a bill. I'm reading it. It's over hundreds of pages. This thing is, I went up to the Senate last Thursday and met with Senator Loomis and a bunch of bipartisan senators. They're trying to get their act together on this thing. But we got to get going. Chop, chop. Let's lead the world and put this thing together, because we're lagging.
Kevin O'Leary, the outspoken and sharp-tongued Shark Tank investor, has made waves with a recent provocative statement. He hinted at a seismic shift on the horizon, one that involves Bitcoin and its continued resurgence at the hands of President Donald Trump. So what's the deal? Could it be the dawn of new regulations, or perhaps a significant influx of institutional investment into Bitcoin? Regulations provide assurance that gets the institutional brokers off their metaphorical dating apps and into serious, long-term partnerships with cryptocurrencies. These entities crave clean dealings, no felonious histories, just clear skies and regulated exchanges like M2 Exchange in Abu Dhabi, and desire credibility and transparency in their financial investments.
What is your take, though, on the argument, and especially around crypto, but other things as well, that rather than create new rules or even new laws that might have to be put into effect, that you have effectively regulated through legislation? That is a huge...
we don't legislate.
No, I understand that you don't legislate, but that rather than have legislation or push for legislation or even implement rules that could be with real sort of bright lines, if you will, that what's happened here, especially in the crypto world, is that it's been done through the form of legislation. I'm not legislation, through lawsuits, effectively.
So what we are a law enforcement agency, and Congress set us up to be both. We oversee the markets. We approve all those registrations when people go public and so forth. But we also, that's 700 plus times a year, bring actions. We have to go in front of a judge and sometimes juries. So now it brings it back to this new innovation. And what Satoshi Nakamoto did, we're almost at October, so it's almost the 16th anniversary, 16th birthday of Bitcoin.
Right.
And it's an innovation. But innovations don't long thrive if they don't also build trust. The automobile wouldn't have survived if you didn't have traffic lights, if you didn't have stop signs, and even cops on the road to make sure there weren't accidents. And so that's part of our role as being cops on the beat, and the rules are about the traffic lights to make sure. So in crypto, if you want to raise money from the public, there's a basic idea that you put out fundamental disclosures so that the investing public gets to choose.
So is your argument that you're doing this to make crypto stronger?
We're again merit neutral. Crypto is only a small part of our capital markets. I mean, it's a little less than 1% of the world capital markets, but it's basically to instill trust and protect investors. Look at
what we've heard from both candidates running in this election, first from candidate Trump and then from candidate Harris, is that they're going to be opening the doors probably and being more open to what crypto enthusiasts would like to see. Does that pose a problem, or are the rules kind of laid out at this point, the ground rules?
I'm not going to comment on elections. I'm in a role that I've worked on elections, and I love that too.
No, I'm not asking for a comment on the election, just on the policies that both candidates seem to be embracing.
But on the policies, I think it's quite clear that investor protection helps build innovation. Innovation is compatible with investor or consumer protection if it's about automobiles or cribs or anything else. I think they complement each other. And I said this when I was teaching back at MIT. I said, this field will not long survive if you can't build that investor trust in the markets.
So does the idea of a looser policy concern you, that it would break down trust and the public would be at risk?
Well, I think that we have a time-tested set of laws and rules in our securities markets. Basic things. Investors get to decide, but they get disclosure. Roosevelt called it the Truth in Securities Act. The basic idea, we're in this building that NASDAQ exists. NASDAQ doesn't have the conflict of also running a hedge fund, trading on the market, and those conflicts inside of those. And so it's sort of like ensuring that you get the disclosures and you're protected against, kind of the insiders.
But there's some
rigging the
argument.
game.
Kevin O'Leary's insights into the regulated future of cryptocurrency highlight a compelling opportunity for investors eyeing Bitcoin amidst these regulatory shifts. As O'Leary asserts, clean and regulated exchanges hold the promise of attracting substantial institutional investments, setting the stage for a Bitcoin resurgence and possible growth. But what are your thoughts on regulation in the crypto world? Share your thoughts. And finally, don't forget to like and subscribe, and let's keep this bull run going.